Good morning, afternoon, or evening, folks. You see, it's a morning here. We've got something really cool to share you today. We turned Business Central into the first-party vector database with a built-in smart search powered by AI. That means you can now search for things in a whole new way, just like talking to the friend and get exactly what you need. It's a big step forward in making your work easier and smarter. Meet our amazing team. I'm Dmitry, I'm MVP and creator of CentralQ AI and team captain. With me, Stefano, MVP and our tech wizard, who knows everything about Azure and databases. His expertise was critical in turning this idea into the scalable, ready-to-use solution. Then we have Jeremy, MVP and our business guru. He is great in spotting how AI can solve real business challenges. And here we are at work. Each one brings a unique skill set to the table and sometimes on the table, fueling our hackathon journey with expertise, creativity, and fun. Now, let's talk about a big problem that we have with AI copilots that use Business Central data. Imagine you asking smart assistant a simple question like, "What furniture do you sell?" You'd expect it to understand and give you the right answer, right? But here is the catch. If the assistant only look for the word furniture, it might miss a lot of items that are actually what you are looking for, just because they are not labeled with the exact word. This is because most searchers just look for the specific keywords and can't really understand what you mean. Plus, we can't send all our data to the smart assistant to help with them understand better. It's just too much information. This is where we need to be smarter about how we search. We need a way for the assistant to really get what you're asking, to understand the meaning behind your words, not just the words themselves. Meet our Sales Copilot, assistant for making sales orders just by asking. Let's see someone use Sales Copilot. They go to the place where they make sales orders and start the Copilot. They pick up who they sell and what they want to sell, like I want a cozy spot for my living room to chill and eat. Then that message gets sent to the Azure OpenAI. It figures out what the person means. After that, our semantic search in Business Central finds the right stuff and poof, we got sales order ready to go. But what exactly is semantic search and how it different from the usual search we do? Let's take a look. In the classical search, like in this video, if we type furniture, it might come empty. But why? Because none of the items have the word furniture in the names of descriptions. Now, let's switch to the semantic search. When we use the word furniture there, something cool happens. Even though the word furniture isn't in the item description, it finds all sorts of things like tables and chairs. It's like search understand what furniture means. Let's break down how this works. First up, we got to get the data ready. Think of it like teaching Business Central new words so it can understand and find things better. We call these new words embeddings. We keep all embeddings right inside Business Central. Nothing goes outside. And we don't need to use any other fancy systems, so-called vector databases. It's like we're turning Business Central into its own smart search book. Take black chair as an example. We turn that into the bunch of numbers that AI can read. That bunch of numbers is what we call a vector. Next, we use those vectors to find stuff. So, if someone asks for the furniture, Business Central is smart enough to know that black chair is a type of furniture, even if the word furniture isn't mentioned. See the score 0.92? That means a wood table is a really good match for the furniture. What's really cool here is that people can just talk to Business Central like they would talk to the friend, and it will still find the right stuff. No need to remember exact names or codes. This is just a big jump in making Business Central super user-friendly and smart in finding things. Let's reveal the architecture that powers our system. We've integrated vector storage and similarity search algorithm at the core of Business Central. We implemented two versions of semantic search: AL for proof of concept, demonstrating functionality, and SQL for handling scalability when we're dealing with larger datasets. It's an end-to-end process that begins with the user's natural language query and ends with a precise business transaction. But potential applications are vast. This architecture isn't just for our Sales Copilot. It can support any data search application with a Business Central, and especially powerful for any AI copilot that utilizes the RAG framework. Essentially, we are not just building a tool, we are creating a new standard for how AI interacts with the data in Business Central, opening doors to countless possibilities. Diving deeper into the tech, our AL implementation brings semantic search directly into the Business Central, making it seamless SaaS solution. There is no hassle of syncing data externally, keeping everything neat and integrated. However, it's tailored for smaller datasets, as it stores vectors in a blob fields and vectors values with a separate table. This setup is not optimized for large-scale data and results in a rapid table growth, with a single payload creating 1,536 vector values. So while it may face challenges with the big data, for smaller datasets and as a proof of concept, it's spot on. It marks our first step towards smarter, more intuitive Business Central, providing the potential of in-platform semantic search.
After creating our IL implementation of the semantic search, we tried to index very large tables, and performances was immediately a problem when working with a big amount of records. So we decided to create a second version of our semantic search implementation, but this time working at the SQL level and using techniques like a clustered indexer or clustered column store indexes in order to increase performances. For big data sets and for production-ready implementation, our SQL way of doing things really stands out. SQL plays a crucial role in enabling semantic search functionalities. By leveraging SQL's power and flexibility, we can create intelligent search systems and that understand context, meaning, and relationships. By storing vectors in a clustered column store database, we have optimized for speed and efficiency, making similarity searches lightning fast, about 20 times faster than our IL approach, or maybe something more. And this makes everything run smoother and faster, and it's ready to be part of the Business Central core. However, it's important to note that at the moment, this implementation is a draft and is only for the on-premise, just because we cannot turn up things in the SQL database layer in Business Central Online. But despite that, the advancement represents a huge leap forward on making Business Central more powerful and capable of ragging large database with ease. Just to prove that, here you can see that the extension in action. So we search for some text, first using the standard semantic search implemented in the IL language. And you can see that if we index a lot of tables with a lot of records, it takes a bit of time. But if I run the semantic search based on SQL, it's quite immediately. Runs very, very fast, just because the cluster column store index makes it work. How we implemented that? We implemented that, as said, now I use vectors, and I use SQL-based techniques like column store indexes. Remember that vectors can be efficiently stored on Azure SQL. Azure SQL can be a storage provider for that vector database. Using cluster column store indexes in order to store fact tables or tables with big data and so on, it's one of the best practices, and it increases performances when elaborating this data, and also increase compression of this data. So how I've implemented this second version of our semantic search extension. Simply by Business Central now is able to send a vector representation of the source string coming from the Azure OpenAI to a SQL-based function that performs the vector similarity search. So I created in a SQL a function performing vector similarities. This function performs the vector similarities and the cosine distance calculation in SQL using a column store, a cluster column store index. Then the function returns a set of records as JSON array, and this JSON array can easily be parsed by Business Central and used as a result as in the previous extension. So we can see the output in the search window. As you can see, the search now is really fast. I think that we have reached the goal. So to show that semantic search could be implemented in a real performant way. Also, if something will be done in the future, or hoping so, also at the SQL layer. So not RAL, I think it's not enough in order to be able to use a full index of the SQL of the entire Business Central database in order to be consumed from Azure OpenAI. Something must be done in the platform, but we have proved that if you do something in the platform, you can reach interesting results.
Now, let's talk about how we put this to work in a real-world tool, the Sales Copilot. Imagine being able to talk to Business Central like a team member, telling it what you need to sell and how much using your own words. That's what Sales Copilot does. It listens to your natural language, figures out what you mean, and with the help of Azure OpenAI, and then use our semantic search to find the exact items you are looking about Business Central. Finally, it pulls all together to create a sales order. This isn't just convenient, it's a game changer for managing sales and boosting productivity, all thanks to the power of AI and semantic understanding.
Taking our innovation even further, we've made the Sales Copilot available as an API. This means that any tool, service, or app can now generate sales orders using semantic search. Let's take a look at what semantic search looks like for order creation inside BC, and then how we can apply that via an API call. Using the Sales Copilot within BC, we can search on a customer's email, and we can also provide natural language descriptions of some of the items that we're looking to find. For example, here a customer is asking for ordering a batch of t-shirts. They're asking for different sizes, they're describing it by color, very natural language processing. When we preview the suggestions, we can see that semantic search is able to understand the meanings of the words and be able to connect the different parts of the text in a smart way. For example, here it found that I meant 4 separate line items by different quantities, and it paid attention to those sizings to incorporate the variant codes. We can also see that it even took into account attribute information to understand which item we might mean based on some of the item attributes. Understanding how that semantic search works means that we can also, via that API, lift that power to other platforms. For example, here I have a Microsoft Forms that might be something you would give as a customer self-service portal, where a customer could describe what they're looking to have as an order. They can use that same natural language processing here in the customer forms ecosystem. And behind the scenes, then we can act on that forms, such as sending notifications, all the sort of things that you would expect from Power Platform and Logic apps. And that's how this is being driven in this case. We have a Logic app that when a form is submitted, it is parsing some of the information, it is sending that API call to BC, which then creates all of the relevant lines and returns an order number. And then, of course, using that order number, we can give a more rich piece of information in the email that we send to our customer that things have been received. For this demo, we didn't go to the full expansion, but you could easily return in that API all of the lines have been created and say, here is the full list of everything you just asked for. Being able to access data-aware AI via API means being able to use this power anywhere, be it Teams or Power Virtual Assistant, Power Platform, and many other places. Imagine being able to use your voice or pictures to operate Business Central in the future. And that's where we're headed, making business operations smoother and more intuitive than ever, to have Business Central know what you mean to do.
So, to sum up, what we've shown you today is just about making Business Central better right now. It's really about preparing for an exciting future. We've shown how adding vectors and semantic search could become normal parts of Business Central. Thank you all. Now we're ready to answer on your questions.